people?
Yep, we're just waiting for Alan Bolzoni to join so that we have a quorum.
Oh, good. I'm going to go off.
In the office, Dr. Quinn? Oh. You're on mute.
Are you home or are you at your office?
I'm at home. I have my lovely artwork behind me that we did there.
Very nice. I love it.
Just going to send a quick text to Alan just to make sure that he isn't having any issues logging in.
Laura, are you going to the school later today?
I actually just got back from my older daughter's run through, and then I'll be going again. Yeah, it was really cute. It was really nice.
That's nice.
Yeah, she was really excited, and it was fun. They did a really good job. They had different stations set up as you drive through the parent drop-off area, and they handed out like goodies and things like that, and then they had like a big screen with everybody's picture flashing through it. It was really cute.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I'm gonna take mine later. Maybe I'll give you a high five as we're passing, because I have a
I know, right? a respectfully distant high five.
Right. Yes. Oh, yeah, I can't. Fifth grader, I forgot.
Yeah, it's crazy. She'll be going to Esperanto next year. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Weird. I'm obviously not old enough to have a junior high schooler.
No, obviously. I was just thinking we have the second and fourth grader now, and that just seems so wild.
Oh, guys, I don't know if Alan's going to be logging on. He hasn't responded to my text. We did get an email from him, was it yesterday, Amanda, that said that he would be joining?
Yes, we did. Yesterday he said he was going to log in. And I told him he could do it by phone or by clicking on the link, so.
Okay, well, we'll wait a couple more minutes here and see if we can get moving. I'm just concerned because we won't have a quorum and we do have some action items on the agenda. Oh, okay, he's working on logging in right now.
Yay! Amanda, did you happen to get any of the confidentiality letters back?
Hi there, Alan.
Steve Anthony. Okay. Hi, Alan.
I think you might be on mute.
Unmute. Okay, can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you loud and clear. Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining. We really appreciate it.
Sorry I'm late.
No, no worries at all. Okay, everybody, we'll go ahead and get started. Okay. So first we're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. It is 10:11 a.m. and I have been informed that we will still need to do a salute to the flag. So I'm going to present my screen. 1 second here. Let's do this one. I'm going to share this screen because I think that's one that's going to be easier. Okay, so everybody should be seeing my screen right now. Does everybody see an American flag?
Yep.
All right, perfect. So let's go ahead and do our salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. I thought everybody would enjoy having the flag up on their signal. So I totally weird saying the pledge without a flag around. So, okay. All right, so we'll go ahead and do roll call next. Give me a minute. I'm going to be flipping through some different items on my screen, so it might be a little bit slower today than usual. So for roll call, Alan Bogoni.
Here.
Anthony Sylvester.
Present.
Laura Emsley, I'm here. And Nancy Johnson is absent today. So we do have a quorum. Okay, can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Okay. Are there any trust board comments today?
Nope.
None? Okay. I do have one comment. I want to make an announcement that Herman Verdugo has resigned from the trust board. So we are actively seeking a new trust board member. If anybody has any suggestions of a trust board member, please send them to me. I would greatly appreciate it. I am reaching out to a former principal that we've had at Sunnyside to see if he has any interest in joining. So please just keep your ears open, and if you have any ideas of anybody who might be interested, let me know. So we do not have any call in the audience at this time. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the last board meeting?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded.
There's a delay.
Oh, the fun times of online meetings.
All right.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Perfect. Wonderful. Thank you all. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and jump right into our general functions. IMS references is our first agenda item. And Anthony, you're going to be talking to us about the references that you collected for IMS.
Yeah, so I was able to reach out about, it would have been 2 months ago now, to 3 current IMS clients. One was an Arizona client with employees throughout the state. The other 2 were Southern Arizona clients. And the feedback that I got was overwhelmingly positive. I'm going to pull up my notes here real quick. So I had some targeted questions for them just around their experiences. One of the questions that I asked each and every one of them was whether or not they had any type of complications or high dollar follow-up care that resulted from folks receiving care in Mexico. And all of them said no, at least not that we were aware of or not that we saw in the claims data. I also asked them all if they had any issues with the members going across the border, any situations that arose, and again, they all said, no, there's been no issues whatsoever. They were immensely complimentary of the customer service that IMS offers. They said that their employees all have a great experience anytime they call, coordinate travel, and coordinate care. They said that the penetration has been around 10 to 15% for their membership for the Southern Arizona clients. And that has to just do with locality. So for them, going across the border is actually quicker and closer sometimes than traveling up north to Tucson or even to Phoenix, depending on what type of care they're trying to receive. They say that predominantly their members are using it for pharmacy. So when they look at the data, they look at the number of claims that come through in the IMS network, they are saying about 90% of it is pharmacy. And their members love that. They love that they only get brand medications, no generics. So long story short, nothing but good feedback coming from them. They were very realistic and level-set with me and said, not everybody is going to use this, but all of them are in similar situations where they had membership that they presumed was going south to Mexico to receive care, and so they added the IMS benefits that both folks could start to take advantage of the medical plans when they hadn't been currently. So very similar situations to kind of what we discussed with Sunnyside. Good feedback. I still don't know that it's anything we want to rush into doing, especially in light of the fact that we just closed open enrollment. But I was pleased with the information that we got from those references, and it was all good feedback and positive things to say about IMS.
Great. Which clients did you reach out to, Anthony?
Bashas, Santa Cruz County, and the city of Nogales.
Okay. And so they said that 90% of the utilization is through pharmacy. Can anybody weigh in on how that would impact us with our payer matrix utilization also?
Yeah, I think we are capturing a lot of those specialty drugs, so those wouldn't need to go down to be administered or picked up in Nogales. So we'd probably have to get some more information that you do have a high generic utilization on those other drugs, so you don't have a lot of brand utilization that necessarily would drive members to go to Nogales. But we'd probably have to get some more information from Magellan, which I can do. on just brand utilization. So I don't know how much additional savings on the pharmacy side you're really going to be able to capture.
Okay. And then, Anthony, in regards to BASHAs, did they talk about any clients that go from Tucson down to Mexico, or were they focusing also on their southern Arizona or more southern Arizona clients?
Yeah, I had asked that. They said that they've had quite a few of their Tucson employees that have taken advantage. I asked about Maricopa County, and they said they've had one individual that they are aware of that went down for a surgery in Maricopa County, but otherwise the bulk of the participation was from their Tucson and Southern Arizona employees. And they said depending on the prescription and the cost, they've had a lot of their Tucson employees that have taken advantage of this because it's saving them a couple $1,000s per script.
Okay. All right. That's good to know. I guess I would be really interested to know how this would correlate with our payer matrix, because our high dollar pharmacy is now being kind of shifted over to payer matrix. How would that correlate to IMS? Because if we're going to be paying, I believe it was about $25,000 a year for it.
Between $25,000 to $30,000, $2 PEPM.
And if 90% of the other clients' utilization is through pharmacy, are we going to be, is this considered, yeah, right.
Right, are you really going to get an ROI? So,
Right.
Pharmacy information. Anthony, sorry.
This is Lori. I think the people that have already selected payer matrix.
Oh, Lori, sorry, can you guys hear her?
No.
Is that any better?
Yep, that's better.
I think the people that have selected payer matrix will stay that course because, you know, they don't gain anything by going from a completely free program to going down to Mexico and paying more. I think the word of mouth about the payer matrix program will continue to spread, and more employees on specialty medicine will go that route. So, Laura, I don't think that's a real concern. I think if anything were to occur, it might be from people that are currently on generic medicines here, that they might go that direction to get a brand medicine. I don't suspect that would happen a lot, but I would still think that the generic through Magellan would be less expensive than a brand through IMS. So that might be an additional question we could ask or monitor.
Are generic prescriptions cheaper in Mexico than they are here? I mean, even with our inexpensive tiers?
Well, IMS does not cover any generic.
Oh, that's right. They only do the brand name. Okay, that's right. Thank you for that. So I guess that would be my question, is what type of benefit would this be then, if we already have our high pharmaceutical users in payer matrix, but then we only have the generic prescription users remaining. What type of benefit, if there's 90% utilization at these other companies, would this really be? So, okay. All right. I guess something to look into for a future conversation. And did they say anything, Anthony, when you talked to them, was it pre-COVID?
This was, I would say, early COVID. How about that?
Early COVID. Okay, got it. So there hasn't been any kind of conversation about what's been going on since?
No.
Okay. Any other questions about this agenda item?
Not for me.
I think maybe we can put this onto our next agenda in September to look at as a possible, I don't know if we want to do a mid-year plan change, but maybe that's what we talk about in our next meeting, is whether we do a mid-year plan change to see how it goes, or if we wait till the next open enrollment to make the move, if we decide to do so. Okay.
Okay, great.
Okay, so moving right along on to our next agenda item, we have a claims update with CBIZ.
Okay, and I can share the latest if that would be helpful.
Go for it.
I think I can.
Okay, it came up.
Did it?
Yes, I see it. Okay, great.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so I don't know if you've had a chance to take a look, but you are running very well. So here, we still are capturing almost 52% in the high deductible plan, and with 29% of claims paid there. The PPO 1500's got just under 30% and about 30% of claims paid. And your 750 has 20% enrollment with 38% of claims paid. So we'll talk about open enrollment at the next meeting, but we do expect some shifts. So we're excited to see that. We expect a lot more moving over to the high deductible plan. But through March, we are running at almost 73% loss ratio, claims versus expected. Your per PEPM with all in is $441 for all plans combined. And your total plan cost versus your budget, you're running at 77%. And we have had some stop loss recoveries, but overall you continue to run well. By plan, your high deductible plan is still running at 41% loss ratio with a $274 per employee per month. The 1500 has a 71% loss ratio and a $443 per employee per month all in. And your 750 is at 828% loss ratio with a $780 PEPM. So again, we have increased the cost for the 750 this year, and we've had a lot of good conversations and expect some shifts into the other plans as we move forward. When we take a look at last year and then with run out, you had another almost $92,000 come back in Magellan rebates. So down here, your actual claims versus expected with the 18-19 run out, you're at just under 83%. So again, if you're ending that plan, you're very well as well. And then your annual cost comparison. So this is your down at the bottom, 17-18 versus 18-19 to what we're estimating your 19-20 cost to be. You're performing well. We're estimating your total cost for 10 months. Mind you, this is 10 months at $5.1 million. And we are expecting over on the far right, your per employee per month to be about $443. This is just above where you were last year, 1.6% above that, and it is lower than what we've projected in our renewal. So we projected about 574 PEPM. So we do still have a couple months left, but with the stop loss recoveries and the way the plan is performing, you are doing very well. So I'll pause there for a minute. Any questions?
I have a quick question, Chris. Does CBIZ have any ideas or projections on how the lack of claims over the last 2 months due to people not going to the doctor might impact us in the upcoming months?
That's a great question. Yes, actually, our actuarial team is working on to estimate the impact based off of just what you're saying, off of COVID, off of people not receiving services right now, and what that looks like in the future. Lori, can you chime in? Do we have a target date at this point to run that?
So we have a preliminary actuarial model that we can run for you And the purpose of it was to kind of determine the effect on your current plan year. With Sunnyside's renewal, it's kind of interesting. Certainly the decline in demand, all the elective procedures that were put on hold is going to affect your plan year that is about to end. And we do not expect the ramp up of the pent-up demand to happen before at least July, moving into the latter part of the year. So I think the end result will be that your plan performs well for this year. When we do the premium adequacy report, we will do another test to make sure that the premiums we have set are sufficient, knowing that some of this pent-up demand will start running through. It's kind of twofold, not only people that put elective procedures on hold, but the people who chose not to get tests or procedures that maybe have exacerbated their condition. So we'll be watching that closely, and right now the anticipation is an additional expense of about 5 to 7% for your new plan year. But you know, the data has just been really difficult to decipher, and it's so different all across the country. Arizona and Tucson in particular has not been hit particularly hard, knock on wood. So if that continues, I don't expect the overall effect to be terribly substantial. But we can run those analyses now, or we can wait another couple of months and continue to get additional data and run them at that time.
And I did just receive this on a weekly basis from UMR, and this is members on the plan, of course. So they're basically tracking the testing and cases. So this is as of 5/13. One confirmed case, one probable, one possible would be cost associated. So we continue to get this weekly and sharing with the district as well.
Great. Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions about the claims update?
Just one quick question. What percentage of the members are still in the 750 plan?
We have just under 19.6%.
Okay.
Wow. That's going to probably be a big shift after this open enrollment.
I agree. I'm guessing we're down to 10%.
I think you're probably right.
You could probably help it along. Tell them they got a year and it's gone.
It may be a topic for our next trust meeting, depending on that participation. But we've had really great meetings this year, Alan. So surprisingly, because they've been virtual, so we do expect this.
Yeah. It was
something to keep in mind for the future. Just do them virtual all the time.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'd like to make that recommendation. Sure. Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll move on to large claim reports over 50K. You see we do have 2 stop loss hits, the top 2. And then the next, number 3 and 4, we're right there at 93% and 88%. So it's very possible and likely we will hit on both of those as well. The end-stage renal, it does look like they are eligible for Medicare, but not until January of 2020, from what I could find so far. And then the Hodgkin's lymphoma continues to be a high-cost chemo claimant. So again, she's been finishing up the year of some targeted chemo. And we do see some other lung cancers on the horizon as well, in addition to what's on here. So again, some high claimants, but you do have the stop loss protection this year, and we'll talk about stop loss next.
I just add a real quick comment on this. I monitor these very closely, and I am seeing a lot of new cancer diagnosis, more breast cancer than anything else. But I suspect these high-cost claims to continue, and certainly to factor that in.
And, you know, it's interesting that you're seeing more breast cancers pop up because a few years ago, I don't know, Laura, if you recall, that there was a lot of breast cancers at that time as well. So, again, trying to get people to get in and get their mammograms early.
You know, Chris, I'm wondering if maybe for next year's wellness, we add preventative screenings onto our wellness points to try to kind of address the mammogram situation. Yeah, as well as
That's a really good idea.
Yeah, definitely. Okay.
Have you guys ever utilized the mammogram bus or truck?
Yeah, we have in the past. We have not done we used to do health fairs in the past, and for the past, I want to say 2 years, we have not done them, and we used to bring the buses here, and it was a pretty decent success. So it's something that we can definitely look at doing again. We added flu shots onto the wellness points for this year, so maybe next year, if we did add on those wellness points for mammograms or any preventative screenings, if we could bring the bus in, you know, with the flu shots and do an event again like we have in the past.
Absolutely. I have made that note as well.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And that wraps up your medical. Dental is running well, 71% between the two plans, and your base at 59%, and the bio at 78%. So doing really well with the Delta options. Okay. Any other questions on medical?
No.
You want to move to the next agenda item?
Yep. The next agenda item is the stop loss review the RFP results for CETAs.
Okay. And just to preclude that, if Alan, you may have received the documents to sign, we just need to return that to the procurement office as well.
Okay. I'll have to find it.
No problem. We'll make sure you get it.
Yeah, send it to me again because it's probably easier than me trying to find it.
Perfect. Amanda, could you just forward that document to Alan, please?
Will do.
Thank you.
So we did go to market for stop loss this year, and we actually had 6 decline to close for competitive, not being competitive. We did receive a response from BP, who you currently have, and the good news is that overall the response, while they didn't lower their initial rate, is really what we've also factored into your renewal. So you were on a 10-month contract, and then going back to a 12-month contract, there was a load to account for the additional months. So while it looked like a 50% increase, really when we take into account, if we looked at a 12-month, it was about a 35% increase. We did run a Monte Carlo simulation. This is where we test your stop loss against 10,000 like programs of comparable size. And basically it indicates that the results indicate that 3.5% of your claims, so 232,000, are expected to exceed the deductible of 200,000. So I'm going to go through the notes here on the side. The premium load is higher than the standard load at about 65%. I'd like to see it closer to 30%. But again, knowing that we did not have any competitive quotes, and we do feel like it's still within the ballpark. When we take a look at the simulations, what it's showing here is your $200,000 current ISL level, and then the same at the $200,000 for the renewal. We're estimating claims are going to be around that 6.3 thousand, with claims exceeding stop loss at 232. That this is showing that we would expect 3.5% in excess of the 200,000, which is 1.5 members. And we already know that you've had 2. So we do expect it to be probably closer to $300,000 this year in stop-loss reimbursements. The premium for the $200,000 on your ISL is currently $401. It's going to go to $601 for the 12 months. So with a $120,000 corridor, 120% corridor. On your aggregate, it's a 0.9%. We don't expect you to hit the aggregate, and the premium on that would be $35,000. So when we go down to the bottom here, when we take a look at your estimated premium of $200,000, let me say this differently. Your estimated premium to be the $299 minus the estimated stop-loss hits would be the $208,000. So you're going to have a $208,000 increase. If we were to look at a $250,000 ISL, again, it adjusts for the premium versus the expected hits. Excess would be 2.7, which is just about 1 member. And then again, if we take that down to the bottom, your premium variance is at $70,000 versus the additional risk. So while we do see savings as we look at a $300,000 ISL or a $200,000 with individual aggregating deductibles of $50,000, and the individual aggregating would be a layer on top of the $200,000. While we do see additional savings, knowing that we do have some potential large claimants on the horizon, it may be another year, knowing that we have factored in the additional premium expense to remain at the $200,000 versus take on the additional risk for a little bit of savings. So I'll pause there and see what questions you may have.
What are our reserves at right now? And what's our fund balance? Are we in good cash position or?
You do. We're going over that next. And, if you had it pulled up, Laura, I don't want to guess right now.
Rachel is on. Rachel, are you there?
I'm here. So you are, I'm looking at it right now. Your total assets, your total liabilities and fund balance are at $4.4 million right now. Your net assets available for benefits is $3.8 million. Your cash is at $4 million currently.
What was our goal to try to get it to 10?
$7.
Minimum 7? Okay. Okay, then I would say, raising the deductibles usually one way to get it down, but you gotta. My feeling is you need to get your reserves up to your 7 before you start going too crazy with that. Going to 250 or 300 might be okay, but again, you got to really measure what the benefit is. I'm torn on it because there's only 4 cases right now.
Right.
I agree with Alan's comment there that, it's reasonable to continue to raise that ISL level. Basically, you're working on what's called leverage trend, whereas the cost increases in the medical provider world, the stop-loss increases more than that if you don't adjust the individual stop-loss deductible. However, in a year that you can see there are several large claimants and expected to continue, it's probably not the year that I would take on additional risk.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not real anxious to take on additional risk yet. Again, I wouldn't do it until you get to your goal.
Okay.
Once your reserves, you're at 7, between 7 and 10, you can afford to take on additional risk because your reserves get covered if you really have a bad case.
Yeah.
Everybody gets COVID.
Right.
Alan?
So what you're saying, Alan, is just you're recommending that the $200,000.
I would, I wouldn't go much over 200 or 250. I mean,
Okay.
I don't know, Christine, what do you think? 250 or 200?
Just knowing that there's some additional claims and it, you know, kind of the uncertainty of the next year, maybe it's fine to hold it for another year at 200,000, but there may be.
I think that's a good idea.
What's the difference in the cost increase between the 200 and the 250? I'm having a hard time reading those small numbers with my eyes. Oh, there we go. Okay.
30,000 in predicted risk.
We're having a hard time hearing you, Lori.
I'm sorry, it looks like the premium increase is about 130,000, but the net increase is only expected to be about 80 when you take on the additional 56,000 of predicted risk.
Thank you. Okay. I'm fully comfortable with staying at the 200,000. If everybody else on the trust board is also, and it sounds as though that's a recommendation from CBIZ.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay. Anthony, do you have any weigh in on this?
No, I'm in agreement as well. And just curious, do we have any experience rewards in the UHC contract, and have we been able to calculate what we might expect?
You did not receive experience rewards for the last plan year because there were, can't think of the word now, because you had the reimbursement. So it is still in the plan. As long as you don't add the aggregating deductible this year, the experience rewards does remain in the contract. Don't think I have an estimate of what that may be, but that's a good question. I can get it back to you.
Can you talk about experience rewards, please?
So as long as you meet certain thresholds set in the contract and you run better than expected, there's basically a cost share that they're going to give back to you. And so I believe it was the first year you did receive some experience rewards. I don't have that number on the top of my head. But you received some premium back in the form of a check because you ran better than expected. So they may increase the premium a little bit, especially that first couple of years because you were new to self-funding, so they took on unknown risk, and because you ran a little bit better, they gave some of that back.
So can you tell me again why we didn't receive experience rewards for this year?
For the past year, because there were stop-loss reimbursements that ate into that loss ratio. And I can get you the workup on that.
And I don't necessarily need to see the workup. That all makes sense. I think my only point is that those types of contracts are getting increasingly rarer. So if we're able to maintain that going into this new contract year, that would be a great benefit. So I agree with everything that's been said and the recommendation, and I'm elated that we'll be able to maintain that, and we'll cross our fingers for a good year, so hopefully we can see some money come through on that type of contract.
Absolutely. Good point, Anthony. Does anyone else have questions?
Do you want a motion?
Laura, are you there? We might have, sounds like we might have lost her.
Yeah, I just got a little notice that said Laura had left, so maybe she dropped off.
Yeah, she's been having internet issues. She should be right back.
Okay. We'll wait.
Get off the chair.
Does anyone have holiday weekend plans?
No. Stay clear of everybody.
Alan, I was just going to ask, Alan, are you up in the White Mountains?
No, I'm still in Tucson, and it's killing me.
Oh, we're going up this weekend.
I'm going up June 1st. I don't care what it's like.
We're going up to Payson tomorrow.
Oh, okay, yeah, because Navajo County, the numbers up in Navajo County have not been good.
Yeah.
And most of that is situated between Overgard and Heber and the southern part, which is where I'm going. So my wife says I can go on one condition: I don't leave the house, except to go fishing.
We're going fishing, but we're going up to the Greer Lakes to fish. Is usually where we fish.
Yep. Yeah,
I don't know if you've followed, but like the Greer Lakes has this Instagram page, and oh my goodness, they just filled it, and people are catching fish like crazy.
Wow.
My husband's upset because we weren't there last weekend when they were catching all these fish, so it'll probably be off this weekend.
Yeah, I would love to. I was going to go up April 1st, and then all this stuff hit, and I've been stuck here. Plus, I've got about half a dozen projects I want to do on the house, and
That's the one interesting thing. Even though we're home, I mean, during the week we're slammed with work, but on the weekends, we've got the little kids where we typically are going to games, going to this, and I'm like, oh, we can't go up there, so I'm actually getting a few things done around the house.
Yeah, my wife is making me do it. And we have two of the grandkids a couple of days a week, so.
Chris, Laura said that we could move on to financials, and we'll do a motion when she gets back on, if that's okay. Okay, and we went through the financials with her yesterday, so Rachel, we can turn it over to you, and let me find the financials for you.
Okay.
I'll pull them up.
I don't even know if this attorney. So, we need to have the final answer. Check in here. Don't sign off.
A second, Rachel.
Sure.
Okay, Rachel, I have on first the 10-month ending balance sheet variance. Is that accurate?
Okay. Yeah, that would be the correct one. So this is through April. The first column is your current year-to-date, so that's this year, and it's being compared to your year-end last year. Your current cash is at $4 million. So that's the money market. That's where they're sweeping every day, so all of your interest is earned in that. You all do not currently have investments other than that. There's a placeholder for when that is, it becomes something you all do. Your cash is higher than last year, than year-end last year, and it has been creeping up every month when I've done these. I think you've had a net income for most months. Then we move down to your contributions. Now this is the receivable. This is what is coming in May for payroll through April 30th. So you'll see sometimes there's a large variance between the last year, because that's what was coming through at the end of June, and as you all don't have a lot of contributions coming in at the end of June anyway, you're going to see a large variance there most months. I think this one was for 13 days, so this is almost an entire payroll period. Let's see, we've got the interest. That has dropped. When I did the reconciliation of the bank account and the sweep account, the interest rate dropped in April, more than likely because of all of the financial stuff going on due to COVID. I can't swear to that. You'd have to speak to Wells Fargo, but that is my assumption there. Normally, I think I've seen between $1,000 to $2,000 coming into your account for interest every month, so this was a large drop. We do have the stop loss reimbursement. This is the receivable also, so this is what I've seen so far come in May. This is a check that we see coming into your account in May for stop loss that was incurred as of April 30th. It doesn't mean you all won't be getting any more, but that's what we have on the books as of now. We also have your other receivable. There is a check. The fiduciary was paid twice by accident, So I have a check that went out in the mail today. I got the address from Laura yesterday, and it's going to Amanda. I think it's coming to you all. She said Sunnyside Benefits Office, and it just needs to be deposited back to Wells Fargo. So that's the majority of that other receivable there. That'll drop off in the May financials and go back into your cash. We have the prepaid bond premiums. That's that fiduciary, your cyber insurance, and your fidelity bonds. So those have been paid. This is through April. I believe we have 1 or 2 more months, and then I believe, no, I'm sorry. I was working on another fund before this. You all have about 6-7 months left on this one. So this is what you've prepaid on your fidelity, fiduciary, and cyber bond insurance. It's being bought down every month. So your total assets are at $4.4 million as of now through the 10 months of 2020. If we move down into the liabilities, these top 4 are expenses. They're higher this month than usual because this is including March and April. The March premiums didn't get paid until the first week of May. Still waiting on April invoices, and we'll get those paid as soon as they come in. We have the RX savings fee, which is the payment to payer matrix. That is 1 month's worth there. Then we have the other payable here. This is an FSA deposit area that was made. I believe a check has been requested for that to pay back FSA. It was an amount that was put into Rawls' account that shouldn't have been. So that's what that is. And then your IBNR, the incurred but not reported, is at $455,000. That's an estimate based on the claims experience through April. April had a lower claims dollar amount, so that dropped from March to April. If you all actually have the March balance sheet the March balance sheet, you'll see that IBNR was large then because your March claims were kind of large. This is an estimate though based on that, so you'll see that go up and down. 455 is normal. It's what I've seen each month normally. So your year end for 2019, your balance was $2.8 million. This year, you will have a net income of $1 million, which brings your net assets available for benefits up to 3.8, and your fund balance is at 4.4. Are there any questions on the balance sheet?
Nope.
No. Okay. So we move on to the next page, which is the income statement.
Yep.
This one is comparing the 10 months of 2020 to the 10 months of 2019. So your contributions for 2020 are lower than 2019. I believe there were 2 premium holidays, a shortened year. So this is normal. This is what I expected to see. I see your contributions are at 6.4. Then we have your COBRA, the Arizona State Retirement System. That's at $273,000. Your HSA contributions being tracked are at $620,000. Your interest for the year is at $41,000, and that is higher than last year. I'm not sure if I can remember exactly when the sweep began, but you hadn't had it for a whole year when we did the April 2019, so I would expect that to be higher. So your total revenue for 2020 is at $7.4 million right now, and it is lower than 2019, and that's due due completely to the contributions with those premium holidays and the shortened year. So if we move into the expenses, we have your medical claims. Now the top line is the payments made. So at 4.4, you are higher than 2019, but if you move to the second line, that's stop loss recovery, and as you can see, that's $548,000, much higher than last year. So if you combine the two, your medical claims are actually lower than 2019 through these 10 months. Prescription claims, even without the RX rebates, are also lower than last year at $822,000. Your RX rebates are higher, so offset you're about $560,000 lower in RX claims there compared to 2019.
And a big portion of that prescription claim difference between last year and this year, that $494,000, a big portion of that is attributable to the payer matrix process, correct, Chris?
Yes, that is correct.
This is Lori.
Can I add one note here, though, that your RX rebates are paid in arrears, and we certainly expect to see those start declining because of those dollars going into the payer matrix program.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so the next line is your claims administrative fee, and this line is at $577. This is the UMR fee, but it also includes the payer matrix. So we're at $178,000 more than last year. Your payer matrix has been between $19,000 to $25,000 a month, so that's not unexpected there. And then we have your COBRA fees. These are the payments to PayFlex. We have the vision, dental. Those are the payments to Superior for vision and Delta for dental. Your vision is lower than last year. These are the premiums. And your dental has increased. I know there are three plans this year with dental as opposed to, I can't remember exactly how many there were with the previous carrier, but that's what I thought too. Now those aren't necessarily your claims, those are the premiums I've been making payments on every month.
Correct. Are voluntary mostly, so it's mostly member.
Right. So your stop loss premiums are next, and they're at $366,000. That is lower than last year for the 10 months. I don't yet have an audit fee in there. I haven't seen an invoice, but I believe there's one coming soon for the 2019 plan year.
Yes, there should be one coming soon.
Okay. The rest of it is really just the same kind of thing we see every year. We've got your education training, which is a little higher than last year. I'd have to look back to see exactly what was paid there, but I believe it was a recent payment. But that's included in that other allotment where we've done the credit on the UMR invoices. Let's see, your HSA transfers are at $624,000, and your bond expense is at $35,000. So with that, your net ordinary income, you made $890,000 this year for these 10 months, which is $1 million less than last year, but your revenue was $1.3 million less than last year, so your expenses are actually lower overall compared to 2019. If we move down, your IBNR has dropped compared to last year. I'm sorry, your IBNR has dropped this year. So that brings your excess of revenues, your total net income to $1 million. Are there any questions on the income statement?
No.
Nope.
Okay. The next one is just a monthly income statement. We don't need to go over it, but if there's anything you see on there that you have a question about, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Thank you, Rachel. Does anybody have any questions for Rachel? No? Okay. Okay. You're good, Anthony? Just want to make sure. I didn't hear you.
No questions. Thanks, Rachel.
All right. Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel, for your time. We really appreciate it. Apologies, everybody. I have horrible internet, apparently, and got kicked out for quite a long time. So, it's frustrating. I apologize for missing the end part of our stop-loss view conversation. I ended my comment about the experience rewards and possibly having a sidebar conversation with Steve about what that means just for my own personal education. Was there any other questions or comments about the stop-loss review, or are we okay to move forward for vote?
I'm okay.
Okay. Anthony, are you okay to move forward for a vote?
I am, yes.
Okay, perfect. So do I have a recommendation to move forward, or a motion to move forward for the stop-loss renewal at $200,000 for the individual stop loss rate.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Perfect. Okay, wonderful. Thank you all for that. And it looks like we are on to, just at the end of our meeting here, a request for future agenda items. I'd like to open up the floor. Does anybody have future agenda item requests?
I have one. It's not really important, and there's no giant rush for it, but I'd really like to see some comparisons between the claim activity for March, April, and May of this year compared to last year. I just like to, I mean, we saw March was kind of high, but I think overall a lot of people were just staying away from hospitals and doctors. So I'd really be interested in seeing what the claim difference was between this year and last year.
And I agree. I think that would be very, very interesting.
Yeah, and we will have, this is through March, so we'll have April soon, so yeah, we'll have all of those and we can easily take a look at those comparisons. Absolutely.
That'd be great. Thank you. Okay, I have, go ahead, Anthony.
I know we've got our friend from UMR on the line. I'm not sure if it's available or if it will be by our next meeting, but I'd be curious to see if we have any COVID-related claims for this school district.
Okay, perfect.
And if so, obviously, what the impact has been on the plan, and et cetera.
Great. Yeah, we do have a report that we're receiving every week. Is it weekly or biweekly, Chris?
Weekly.
Weekly, and because so far we have 3 members who are in that COVID purview area, where we have one who is positive, one who's probable, and one who is, what was the other?
Possible.
Possible. Possible, probable, and yes. So we have one member in each one of those categories, but I think it would be nice to have a kind of a full overview in September when we meet again of the type of thing to take claims and the impact on the plan.
Yeah, absolutely, and obviously empathetic to anyone and everyone who's been impacted. I don't think we need any PHI whatsoever, but just need to have a better understanding of what the financial impact has been.
Absolutely, absolutely, noted. Okay, let's see, I have a couple of items also. We're going to add the UMR year-end wrap-up as well as the Magellan year-end wrap-up. The PAR, the Premium Adequacy Report from CBOs. I'd like to also add one more discussion item for IMS, and the reason I want to add it in September is because I want to look at whether or not we are going to do a mid-year plan year change, or are we going to kind of table this. And then I also want to see if we can get a payer matrix recap. Now that we've been in payer matrix for a year, if we could get a recap of the fees that were being charged, the savings, and then as Lori mentioned earlier, the impact that we might have on our rebates. So if we can look and see, I'd like to have kind of a bottom line, what we're looking at on how payer matrix has impacted the plan.
Yeah, we've been tracking that monthly, and they did, Magellan actually, originally, specialty was carved out of the rebates, but they have continuously been updating their contract, so now they added it back in for anyone that doesn't qualify or whatever it may be. If there's specialty, they are still getting rebates. I'll get additional information, but we have been tracking it monthly, and we're running better than we projected.
Great, great. Okay, so it looks like those are all the future agenda items. Does anybody have any other agenda items to add?
Nope.
Okay, perfect. Well, let's go ahead and look at our calendars then for September, because it feels like it's far away, but it'll be here before we know it. Let's see. How does everybody feel about another, maybe I'll do another doodle instead. That seemed to work out really well. Does that work for everybody if I do a doodle poll?
Yeah, I think that would be great, especially since Nancy's not on the phone with us.
Exactly. That's what I was kind of thinking too. Yes, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm just looking and thinking that we may want to add a open enrollment wrap up.
Yes, great idea.
And so,
I can do that.
With that said, and having UMR and Magellan, I'm thinking we may want to have 2 meetings. Otherwise, we're looking at a solid 3-hour meeting. So I guess the decision, do we want to do 2 meetings or want to have one long one?
Why don't we look at separating them up and maybe do one in October? Okay. We can talk about what can go on this next agenda then.
Perfect.
Okay. All right, that sounds good. So I will send out a doodle poll to all the trust board members so that we can decide on our next meeting in September. And I think that's about it on the agenda items. Okay, is there any other unfinished business? I do not have any.
I have just one quick question. Okay. If we identify another potential trustee candidate, would we be able to hold a meeting in the interim, or would it be beneficial to hold a meeting between now and September to get them onboarded, so to speak?
Yeah, I think that might be a good idea. The other thing I could do is I could meet with them individually and talk with them about the process and what we're looking like, because, I mean, technically the wrap-up might be a good first meeting for them because it'll overview the whole year. So if we can find a trust board member, let me see what type of experience that person has, and if they have little experience with insurance and this type of process, then yeah, I think that's a good idea, Anthony, that we can maybe have a brief meeting, even if it's a virtual meeting like this, to orient them.
Yeah, and even informal, I don't even know that we'd have to call the meeting to order, but maybe just put some faces to names. We can say hi, introduce ourselves, and answer any questions that they have. It may very well take us till September anyway to find somebody. Maybe I'm being overly optimistic, but just wanted to throw it out there.
Yeah, definitely. In the event that we do all convene, then we do need to have it be an open meeting in this type of format, but it doesn't have to be a long meeting for sure. So I think that's a great idea.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, well, at this point in time, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Seconded.
Thank you both so very much. All in favor of adjourning? Aye.
Aye.
And
Aye.
I will be sending you all a doodle poll soon. Thank you all so much for joining online for our first virtual trust board meeting.
Thank you.
Guys, have a great summer.
Yes, you too. Have a safe summer. Everybody stay healthy. Be safe. All right. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you again.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How do I get over? Yeah.